The Middle East is burning like never before. A massive war has erupted between the United States, Iran, and Israel, and the world is watching. In the case of this conflict, three American F-15 fighter jets were shot down over Kuwait, not by Iran directly, but by Kuwaiti air defenses in a tragic friendly fire incident during intense Iranian missile and drone attacks. All six US crew members survived, but the moment showed just how dangerous this war has become. At the same time, US and Israeli forces carried out a stunning and highly controversial airstrike into Iran that killed Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, along with several senior commanders, a move that has reshaped the entire conflict. In response, Iran hasn't backed down. Instead, Tehran launched waves of missiles and drones at US bases and Gulf states across the region, hitting countries like the United Arab Emirates, Qatar, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, and more, in what officials call retaliation for the leadership strike. Today, we're going to unpack all of that: what happened in Kuwait, how the US and Israelis struck Iran's supreme leader, why Iran keeps attacking Gulf states, and what this all means for the future of the region. Stay tuned. This is the full story, and this is Denzel speaking, and welcome to the World of Intrigue. Early in this war, a dramatic and chaotic event shocked military analysts and the world. On the night of March the 1st, 2026, three US F-15 E-Strike Eagle fighter jets went down in the skies above Kuwait. But how and why they were shot down has become one of the first big mysteries of this conflict. These F-15s were operating over Kuwait as part of a US and Israeli campaign against Iran. At the same time, Iran forces were launching waves of aircraft, missiles, and drones toward US and allied positions across the Gulf, pushing the whole region into open battle. According to US Central Command, the official explanation is that the jets were mistakenly shot down by Kuwait air defenses in what the military calls a friendly fire incident. Kuwait has acknowledged the error, and all six American air crew ejected safely and were recovered alive. This explanation fits with the intense air combat happening at the moment. Dozens of missiles and drones were in the air, and Kuwaiti Patriot and other anti-air systems were firing to protect the skies. In that chaotic environment, US jets may have been misidentified as hostile. The main theory from US and allied officially is straightforward: friendly fire. When the jets flew through a crowded battlefield, Kuwait's defenses system may have misread the radar signals or identification codes and engaged them by mistake. Military systems use something called IFF, identification, friend, or foe, to avoid this kind of accident. But in high alert combat zone, where missiles are flying and systems are under stress, those safeguards can fail, leading to tragic mistakes. This kind of incident is not unprecedented in history, where air defenses are overloaded with incoming threats. Ground batteries can accidentally target their own aircraft. The official investigation is ongoing, but for now, this friendly fire explanation remains the leading theory from official resources. But right after the jets went down, Iran state media claimed responsibility, saying Iranian air defenses had actually shot an American aircraft. Now, this claim contradicts the US military statement and hasn't been backed up by independent evidence yet. There's no verified radar data or eyewitnesses confirmation that Iranian missiles directly hit those jets. That's why most international news outlets and military analysts are cautious about accepting Iran's version at face value. Some analysts also point out that in many modern conflicts, both sides try to take credit for the dramatic operations. Propaganda can cloud the truth until investigations are complete. So right now, this remains a secondary theory and one that requires more evidence because it can be considered confirmed. Whatever the cause, the fact that three US fighters were downed over Kuwaiti airspace, yet all crew survived, is a stark reminder of how fast this conflict has escalated and how unpredictable it can be. Friendly fire misidentification, or fog of war, the questions around this incident are far from fully answered. But here's a very important question. Will the Gulf states enter the war? After the US and Israeli attacked Iran and Iran responded with widespread missile and drone strikes, the biggest question many people are asking is this: will the Gulf states be dragged into this war? And what will happen to the oil prices if they did? Before answering this question, we need to know why the Gulf states are being targeted from the very beginning of the story from Iran. Iran missiles and drones have hit many targets in the Gulf region, including US military bases, civilian airports, hotels, energy facilities, and infrastructures in Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, Qatar, Kuwait, and other neighboring states. In Bahrain, for example, missiles struck near the US 5th Fleet headquarters, and Iranian rocket fragments fell onto buildings in Manama. In the UAE, the press from Iranian strikes caused civilian deaths and injuries around Dubai and Abu Dhabi. Even Qatar's air defenses have reportedly engaged Iranian bombers and missiles trying to enter Qatari airspace. Iran's stated goal in these strikes appears to be to hit American and allied military targets even when they are located inside Gulf territories. As of now, none of the Gulf states has declared that they are entering the war alongside the United States by launching their own offensive against Iran. But Gulf countries have strongly condemned Iran's attack and have expressed support for defensive actions. Saudi Arabia, for instance, publicly condemns Iran's missile strikes as a violation of its sovereignty and offered to use all its capabilities to support defense efforts against Iran. And in sign of rising regional unity, Saudi Arabia also summoned Iran's ambassador to protest the attacks, a diplomatic move that signals tensions between Saudi Arabia and Iranian leadership. Despite the anger at Iran's attack, Gulf leaders do not appear ready to formally join the war by launching their own offensive strikes. Analysts say this is because Gulf nations have different interests. First, they want stability for their own economy and oil exports. Second, many work closely with the United States, hosting American troops and buying advanced weapons to defend their airspace. But they also fear a full-scale regional war which could devastate their cities and oil infrastructure. In short, Gulf states are supporting the US diplomatically and militarily on defense matter, but they are not yet committing troops or launching their own offensive missions. This is partly because many Gulf leaders want to avoid the kind of direct ground war that could spread across the whole region and cause massive civilian harm and economic destruction. Right now, the Gulf states are in the war zone, but not officially in the war. If Iran continues to target civilian infrastructure, energy facilities, or major Gulf government locations, it could force a shift, and some experts think that the Gulf states might be pushed further into the conflict if they feel they have no choice but to defend their own people and territory. But for now, they are staying mostly on the defensive, supporting US actions and preparing their own defense rather than officially declaring war on Iran. The Gulf states want peace, but they are caught in the middle of a wider war between the United States and Iran. Every missile, every strike, every attack risks dragging them deeper into this conflict. So while Gulf leaders support defensive cooperation with the US, they're still trying not to become primary components in this war, at least for now. At the end, we have to know that this war did not begin in one night. It will not end in one night also. 3 American F-15s fall from the sky over Kuwait. A supreme leader is killed in a precision strike in Tehran. Missiles rain down across the Gulf. The Middle East is once again standing at a crossroads. For the United States and Israel, this was a message of power. And actually, they said that they cannot allow to a Muslim country to have a nuclear weapon. This is what they just stated. For Iran, it was a moment of loss and a call for revenge, or maybe a call to defend themselves. For the Gulf states, it's a dangerous balancing act between survival and escalation. And the question now is bigger than any single strike. Will this remain a controlled conflict, or are we watching the beginning of a regional war that could reshape the Middle East for decades? Or maybe it's the Third World War. History has shown us something very clear. Wars in this region rarely stay limited. One miscalculation, one missile, one decision can change everything. And we will actually continue following every development, every shift, every hidden move behind the scenes. And if you want clear analysis, simple explanations, and real geopolitical breakdowns, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications, because the story is still unfolding and the next move could change the world. But one last question. Don't you notice that no one is talking about Epstein files anymore inside US? Thanks for watching.